In 2009, one film didn't just break box office records, it shattered them, transporting audiences to a world beyond imagination. James Cameron's Avatar was a cinematic revolution. The lush, vibrant world of Pandora and the towering blue-skinned Na'vi captured the hearts of millions, forever changing the landscape of visual effects and 3D filmmaking. But even if you've journeyed to Pandora a dozen times, there are layers of secrets hiding just beneath the bioluminescent surface. What was the original shocking ending? Which A-list actor turned down the lead role, losing a potential fortune in the process? How was the complex Na'vi language actually created from scratch? Today, we're uncovering 20 surprising, behind-the-scenes facts that will change the way you see this masterpiece. From unmade casting decisions to the groundbreaking technology that brought it all to life, prepare to see the film like never before. Let's dive in. Fact 1. The face of Jake Sully is now synonymous with actor Sam Worthington, but the cinematic landscape of Pandora was almost vastly different. Director James Cameron's original vision for the ex-Marine didn't involve a relative unknown, but one of Hollywood's biggest stars, Matt Damon. Cameron personally approached Damon, not just with a salary, but with an unprecedented offer of 10% of the film's back-end profits. At the time, however, Damon was deeply committed to his work on the Bourne franchise, and, feeling he couldn't abandon that project, he reluctantly turned Cameron down. It would become one of the most famous and costly decisions in modern movie history. As Avatar went on to gross nearly $3 billion worldwide, that 10% stake skyrocketed in value, ultimately representing a potential payday of over $250 million. It stands as a legendary tale of a scheduling conflict that cost an actor a fortune, and a fascinating what-if for one of the biggest films of all time. Fact 2. To make the world of Pandora feel truly real, director James Cameron knew its inhabitants needed more than just a unique appearance, they needed their own voice. He turned to Dr. Paul Frommer, a professional linguist, with the monumental task of creating an entire language from scratch. This wasn't a case of inventing a few key phrases. Frommer meticulously constructed the Na'vi language with its own complex grammatical rules, syntax, and a distinct sound system that was pronounceable by human actors, yet felt genuinely alien. He started with a list of about 30 words Cameron had invented himself, and from that small seed, a new language grew. By the time Avatar was released in theaters, Dr. Frommer had developed a working vocabulary of approximately 1,000 words. This incredible feat of linguistic engineering provided the bedrock for the Na'vi culture, giving it a depth and authenticity that made Pandora feel less like a film set and more like a living, breathing world. Fact 3. The inspiration for a world as vast and detailed as Pandora can arrive from the most unexpected of places. For James Cameron, one of the most crucial seeds was planted not in a writer's room or a concept art session, but in a dream. And it wasn't even his own. Years before production began, his mother, Shirley Cameron, recounted a dream she'd had about a striking 12-foot-tall blue woman. This singular, powerful image lodged itself in her son's creative consciousness. He sketched the figure, and that initial drawing became the visual genesis for the entire Na'vi race. While other influences, such as the vibrant blues often associated with Hindu deities, would later be woven into the final design, it was this nocturnal vision that provided the fundamental blueprint. The towering height, the otherworldly skin tone, the inherent grace, it can all be traced back to a fleeting, subconscious moment. It's a remarkable testament to how the most personal of experiences can blossom into a global phenomenon, giving birth to a species that would captivate the imaginations of millions. Fact 4. To truly capture the spirit of Pandora, director James Cameron knew his actors needed more than just a script. Before a single frame was shot in the motion capture volume, he sent the main cast on an immersive survival expedition deep into the jungles of Hawaii. This wasn't a vacation, it was a primal education. For days, they shed their modern comforts and learned to live off the land, mirroring the existence of the Na'vi. They were taught the ancient arts of archery and spearfishing, not as a sport, but as a means of sustenance. They learned to move silently through dense foliage, to build shelters from what the forest provided, and to feel the rhythm of a world untouched by technology. This intense preparation was designed to instill a fundamental understanding of what it means to be one with nature. The experience forged a tangible, physical memory that the actors would later channel into their performances, lending an undeniable authenticity to every leap, every hunt, and every quiet moment in the alien wilderness of Pandora. Fact 5. Long before the world knew the name Pandora, the genesis of the highest-grossing film of all time existed under a far more cryptic title, Project 880. This was the name of the original 80-page script treatment penned by James Cameron himself, way back in 1995. In an era when digital effects were still in their relative infancy, Cameron had already conceived of a lush, fully realized alien world, complete with its own flora, fauna, and indigenous population. The document laid out the entire story we would eventually come to know, but the cinematic tools required to bring it to life simply did not exist. The vision was there, but the technology was not. So, Project 880 was shelved. Cameron would wait for more than a decade, patiently nurturing the idea until visual effects could finally catch up to his boundless imagination. The journey from that cold, technical code name to the mythic title of Avatar perfectly mirrors the film's own evolution from an ambitious technological challenge into a living, breathing cinematic universe. Fact 6. Of all the magnificent and terrifying creatures on Pandora, none command the same immediate, primal fear as the Thanator. This apex predator, a sleek black nightmare of muscle and claw, needed a roar that could instantly communicate its lethal status. To achieve this, the film's sound designers looked not to the alien, but to the most fearsome sounds of our own world. They didn't settle for a single source. Instead, they crafted a chilling acoustic hybrid. The foundation of the Thanator's blood-curdling cry is the raw, guttural power of a lioness, a sound of pure ferocity and aggression. But layered over this is something more unsettling, the manic, whooping cackle of a spotted hyena. This combination is sonic genius. The lioness provides the sheer force and intimidation, while the hyena's laugh injects a note of unhinged, intelligent cruelty. The resulting sound is more than just a roar. It's a declaration of dominance that feels both animalistic and unnervingly sentient, perfectly embodying the ultimate Pandoran hunter. Fact 7. Colonel Miles Quaritch is the unyielding face of humanity's destructive ambition on Pandora, a role so powerfully embodied by Stephen Lang that it's difficult to imagine anyone else stepping into those combat boots. Yet the part almost went to another icon of James Cameron's filmography, actor Michael Biehn, forever known to sci-fi fans as Corporal Hicks in Aliens and Kyle Reese in The Terminator, was a strong contender to play the ruthless military commander. The prospect is tantalizing, the heroic soldier from Cameron's earlier films returning as the ultimate antagonist. Ultimately, however, Cameron himself made the call to go in a different direction. With Sigourney Weaver already cast as Dr. Grace Augustine, the director feared that adding her Aliens co-star to the mix would make the film feel too much like a reunion. He worried the on-screen pairing would inadvertently pull audiences out of the immersive world of Pandora, reminding them of a different battle on a desolate moon. It was a calculated choice to preserve the unique identity of his new universe, sacrificing a nostalgic treat for fans to ensure Pandora felt entirely and singularly real. Fact 8. A single frame of film flashes before your eyes in just 1/24th of a second, a fleeting, almost imperceptible moment. Yet to bring the world of Pandora to life, each one of those final computer-generated frames required an average of 47 hours to render, nearly 2 full days of pure computational power for a single, static image. This staggering feat was accomplished on Weta Digital's massive server farm, a 10,000 square foot facility ranked among the most powerful supercomputers in the world at the time. Every shimmering leaf, every ray of light filtering through the alien jungle, every subtle muscle movement on a Navi's face had to be calculated. It was a brute force technological effort on an unprecedented scale, a digital assembly line working around the clock for years, all to ensure that when you saw Pandora, you didn't just watch it, you believed it. Fact 9. To ensure the alien world of Pandora felt less like a fantasy and more like a functioning ecosystem, James Cameron sought out an expert from our own planet. He enlisted the help of a professor of botany from the University of California, tasking her with a monumental challenge: make the impossible seem plausible. Every glowing fungus, every spiraling, touch-sensitive plant, and every towering home tree was given a biological backstory. The consultant developed scientific principles to explain how these organisms could have evolved, how they functioned, and how they interacted with one another. This wasn't merely about creating beautiful digital assets, it was about world building from a cellular level. She helped craft a comprehensive guide to Pandora's flora, complete with Latin-style names and detailed life cycles. This scientific underpinning is the invisible impetan.
Why she 15 and right but 60.
They similar to
Powerful. Danny Bishop.
I had to see both.
Included. A monster. Unobtainium.
The name itself sounds suitably sci-fi, a perfect label for a rare, otherworldly element. But what many viewers don't realize is that James Cameron didn't invent the term. For decades, unobtainium has been a real-world placeholder used by engineers and material scientists. It's an inside joke, a shorthand for any ideal, hypothetical material needed to solve a problem, but which is currently unavailable, impossibly expensive, or simply defies the known laws of physics. Think of a metal with the strength of diamond but the weight of air, or a power source that is 100% efficient. When a designer is sketching out a concept and needs a material with impossible properties, they jokingly label it unobtainium. By adopting this term, the film cleverly grounds its central conflict in a concept familiar to the very innovators who dream of discovering such a substance. It's a witty, authentic detail that makes the fantastical world of Avatar feel just a little more real. Fact 12. When you picture a jungle, what color comes to mind? an endless, overwhelming ocean of green. But to transport audiences to a truly alien world, the filmmakers behind Avatar had to break that fundamental rule. Look closely at the dense forests of Pandora, and you'll notice a conspicuous absence. Green, the definitive color of life on Earth, is used with extreme rarity. Instead, the moon is drenched in a rich palette of deep blues, ethereal purples, and vibrant magentas. This isn't a world lit from above by a familiar sun, but one that seems to glow from within. Nearly every plant, every creature, and even the very soil pulses with its own internal, bioluminescent light. This decision transforms the landscape from a simple forest into a living, breathing network of energy. It was a masterful stroke of visual storytelling, instantly signaling to the audience that they were light years from home, in a place as magical and dangerous as it was beautiful. Fact 13. From the moment they first appeared on screen, the Na'vi captivated audiences with their unique physicality. They moved with an impossible combination of grace and power, a fluid, almost feline litheness that felt distinctly otherworldly. This was no accident of animation. To bring these 10-foot-tall hunters to life, James Cameron sought out an expert in physical storytelling, a choreographer from the world-renowned Cirque du Soleil. The goal was to infuse the Na'vi with the same kind of ethereal, acrobatic elegance that defines a Cirque performance. The actors were trained to move with a lower center of gravity, to embody the coiled spring tension of a predator before the pounce. Every sinuous step, every explosive leap, was meticulously designed to convey a culture deeply connected to its environment. This dedication to movement transformed the computer-generated characters into believable, breathing beings, grounding the fantasy of Pandora in a tangible, physical reality. Fact 14. Before he became the face of the highest-grossing film of all time, Sam Worthington's life was a world away from the lush jungles of Pandora. He was, by his own admission, living out of his car, having sold most of his possessions just to get by. When the call came for an audition, it was shrouded in complete secrecy. He wasn't told the director was James Cameron, he wasn't told the film was called Avatar, and he was given no script or context for the character. Fed up with his circumstances and with nothing left to lose, he channeled his frustration into the audition tape. This raw, defiant energy was exactly what Cameron was searching for. He didn't want a polished star, he wanted the rebellious spirit of Jake Sully, a disillusioned Marine looking for a cause. That authentic, gritty performance, born from genuine desperation, won Worthington the role of a lifetime, catapulting him from a Toyota Corolla to the very center of a cinematic revolution. Fact 15. To truly bring the inhabitants of Pandora to life, James Cameron knew that standard motion capture was not enough. It could track a body's movement, but the soul of a performance lives in the face. The solution was a revolutionary piece of technology invented specifically for the film, the skull-cap facial performance capture rig. Each actor wore a specialized helmet, from which a small boom arm extended out, positioning a miniature high-definition camera just inches from their face. This wasn't about capturing general expressions from a distance, it was an intimate, microscopic study of emotion. Every subtle twitch of a muscle, every faint curl of a lip, every flicker of doubt or joy in the actor's eyes was meticulously recorded. This wealth of data allowed the animators to map the actor's complete, nuanced performance directly onto their digital Na'vi counterpart. It was this breakthrough that bridged the gap between human actor and alien avatar, ensuring that the raw, powerful emotions of the cast were what audiences connected with on screen. Fact 16. One of Avatar's most enchanting elements is the world of Pandora itself, especially after nightfall. When the sun sets, the landscape transforms into a glowing wonderland, a neon jungle of unimaginable beauty. But this breathtaking vision wasn't born from pure fantasy. Instead, the film's designers turned their gaze to the darkest, most mysterious corners of our own planet, the deep sea. In these abyssal zones, where sunlight is a distant memory, life creates its own light. The ghostly, ethereal forms of deep-sea jellyfish, the predatory lure of an anglerfish, and the delicate, waving structures of siphonophores all served as direct inspiration. The spiraling helichoradion, which shrinks from touch, echoes the behavior of a Christmas tree worm. The gentle, floating wood sprites are a clear nod to bioluminescent jellyfish. By borrowing from the biology of Earth's most alien-like inhabitants, the creators crafted a world that felt both utterly strange and fundamentally plausible. The magic of Pandora's ecosystem is a reflection of the hidden wonders thriving in the crushing pressures of our own oceans, brought to light in a spectacular display of cinematic imagination. Fact 17. The first intimate moment between Jake and Neytiri, beneath the glowing fronds of the Tree of Souls, is one of the film's most iconic sequences. The tender declaration, "I see you," encapsulates their profound spiritual connection. However, what audiences saw was a carefully tempered version of the director's original vision. James Cameron initially filmed a far more explicit and primal love scene, one that delved deeper into the unique nature of the Na'vi bond. It was intended to be a raw, unfiltered exploration of their union, not just physically, but through the joining of their neural cues. But the realities of a blockbuster production soon came into play. Faced with the threat of a restrictive R rating from the Motion Picture Association, a necessary sacrifice was made. To secure the more commercially viable PG-13, the scene was significantly trimmed, losing much of its intended intensity. The feudalism is as brilliant as it is bleak. The RDA, with its insatiable appetite for resources, has quite literally devoured its own homeworld. This single, clever image tells us everything we need to know about their motivation for being on Pandora. They are a relentless force of consumption, having exhausted one planet and moved on to the next. It's a perfect, haunting summary of their entire philosophy, conveyed without a single word of dialogue. Fact 20. To bring the formidable Na'vi warrior Neytiri to life, actress Zoe Saldana needed to create a physical language that was both alien and deeply familiar. The key to unlocking the character wasn't found in science fiction, but in nature. Saldana meticulously studied the movements of a lioness, seeking to capture its unique and powerful duality. You can see this inspiration in every frame of her performance. There's the low, patient stalking through the bioluminescent jungle, each step placed with silent, deliberate purpose, embodying a quiet grace. She carries a lithe, sinuous power, a sense of a coiled spring waiting to be unleashed. And when the moment for action arrives, that energy explodes with the lethal elegance of an apex predator defending its territory. By channeling the spirit of the lioness, Saldana gave Neytiri a primal authority that transcended the digital effects, conveying her role as both a spiritual guide and a formidable protector whose ferocity was as natural as her reverence for life. And so, the legacy of Avatar continues to shape the cinematic landscape, a testament to the power of imagination and groundbreaking technology. From the glowing flora of Pandora to the intricate Na'vi culture, its world remains as captivating today as it was upon its release. Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive. If you enjoyed this journey, please show your support by hitting that like button and subscribing for more explorations of your favorite films. We'd love to hear from you. What was your favorite fact we shared today? Let us know in the comments below.